Hello, everybody. My name is Mika Coleman, and you are at the Leverage Million Dollar Blueprint. And today I have Cannon with My Black Neighbors podcast. And we're going to talk about today what the difference between online tax deed investing and in-person tax deed investing. But before we do that, I'd like to introduce Cannon. Like I said, he has a podcast called My Black Neighbor, and he's going to tell us a little bit about that before we get into the topic.
How y'all doing? Glad to be here another day above the grass. And as she spoke and said before, I go by Cannon, big old Cannon, boom. And I have a podcast by the name of My Black Neighbors Podcast. So, if y'all will stop what you're doing, go subscribe at this moment or after the interview. But I talk about real estate, tax deed investing, traditional real estate, untraditional real estate, anybody that's just doing anything positive, anybody that's, bringing value to the culture, and creating revenue stream, passive income, residual income, and so on and so forth.
Okay, so tell them about your story because I'm all about educating, inspiring, and empowering people. And I thought your story was so empowering about what you were telling me about when you
For
were.
sure.
Yeah,
For
so tell
sure.
me how you started to get into real estate. Like what
Well,
happened?
before I even get there, I've been doing real estate 12, 13 years now. So it's just needless to say, 13 years ago, I was just coming from the store, getting my little snacks, my zuzus and wham whams, you know how they go. And I used to see this guy mowing I didn't know at the time it was, you would call it acres. I didn't even, they just let you know my verbiage. I didn't know anything at the time. I just knew he was mowing the lawn, but come to me to find out it was acres and so on and so forth. And I'd see him all the time. And then I just stopped him and say, "Hey man, you own this lot?" He was like, "Yeah, well, it's actually a few acres, so on and so forth." And I said, "Oh, okay." He said, "Why are you interested in purchasing?" And I just kind of looked at him and I was like, I don't even know if I could purchase something like this. I don't even know what that would cost. And he was like, "Well, you may be in luck." And I said, "How so?" And he told me that, him and his family were in the process of moving. They had sold their home and they were going to be putting it on the market. So he was like, "Man, would you be interested?" Again, I'm like, I don't even know what something like this would cost or how I could even, I had no idea. And I just went on ahead and asked him, and he said, "Well, I will sell you these 2 acres for $500." And I said, $500. I mean, I just figured it was some type of sick joke. I thought he was just, messing with me. But for sure, he was dead serious. He gave me his number. I gave him a call and just to see if it was true. And man, it was like I struck gold. I gave the man the $500, and we went through the process of, closing. I learned the process of what title was, just the whole nine, dealing with an attorney, just learning the whole process of real estate. And ever since then, I was hooked. If I felt like if I could do it once, I could do it again. So it was a wash and rinse and repeat at that point. And I just went on further to expand my portfolio and my real estate career.
Okay, now there was something you said before in your story about when the guy asked you, "What did you want to buy it?" and you were talking about mindset. Can you cover that a little bit? Because I thought
Say it
that was
again.
really
So what
empowering.
was it? What was it? I'm sorry, I can't remember. What did you say?
When you were telling me when the guy was like, "You want to buy it," and you were like saying you really don't come from nothing, so you was like in your mind you was thinking you couldn't afford it, and
No,
for that.
it wasn't so much that, you know, I didn't know if I could afford. I in my knowledge of real estate was zero. So
Got it.
I'm assuming just based off of what I think, this is millions of dollars or something like that, or hundreds of thousands of dollars that I didn't have at the time.
Got it.
And so whenever he said that I was just assuming that, but never in my wildest dreams was I expecting him to say $500. I had $500, you know,
Okay.
but again, and when we say coming from nothing, I mean, I'm not gonna get on here and say coming from nothing. My mother would be upset with that. We've always had a little something. We just got a lot more of what we have now than what we had then.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. All
yeah.
right. Now, I don't know about you, but I've been able to purchase tax deeds for $500. So now you know that there's actually ways that you can actually buy land and properties for really cheap.
Yeah, I went on to learn that, but that was traditional though. Like we actually went through the process of buying it and everything, for the
Mhm.
500. But as I found out about tax deeds, I didn't purchase that as a tax deed at the time. But
Okay.
I found out about that, shortly after. Yeah.
Okay. How did you find out about tax deeds, by the way?
Actually, I mean, I honestly, I'm self-taught. Nobody showed me real estate. I didn't know any of these things. I didn't know anything about real estate. I really just, you just asking people. I'd see auctions being done. On the side of the road, land auctions, probate, so on and so forth. So I just asked people, and then something just told me to contact the city, and
Right.
because I know the city sells a lot of properties. I mean, everywhere really, and they just so happened to have things for sale and was telling me that there was an auction coming up. And I asked the right questions on how I could attend, and the rest was history really.
This is history. I'm glad
Yeah,
you talked about auctions, which leads right into the discussion about
right,
auctions, which is better, live auctions versus personal auctions.
for sure.
So I'm assuming that you've done both, and so have I. So what is your thoughts and opinion on live auctions versus in-person auctions?
I mean, for me, I've had a great bit of success with live auctions and traditional auctions. It, the way I see foreseeing the online auction is going to surpass live auctions. Maybe not overnight, but here soon, just because data, technology is moving by the day. And I'm just gonna speak for it. There's a lot of people that may have anxiety and can't deal with crowds.
Mhm.
You might have everything, the money, the strategy and plan, in play, and when you get to your auction, you just might decide, or you might just realize, like, hey, this is overwhelming. And then you have to understand there's big players in this game. So sometimes, you might get outbidded just because, it,
Yeah, that
you know
all
how that
the time.
goes. So when you're online, nobody is around you. You're literally in the comfort of your own home, like you are right now, purchasing properties, and you don't have anybody betting against you other than who's online at the time. So sometimes it can work in your favor. A lot of those people that go to live auctions aren't technical savvy, so they don't get online.
Right, right. I would
Yeah,
have to agree. I actually, when you said that in the beginning, I was like, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like live auctions. I mean,
yeah,
online auctions, because in
right.
my personal and well,
But you still got to do your due diligence, though. You still have to go and check on
right,
the property. I'm not saying just purchase them, sight unseen, unless you just, got guts like that. Me,
right,
I got
right.
to touch it. I got to see it.
Right. No, I always would advise anybody that's going to do tax deeds, because I tell my students that if they're going to do tax deeds, the money is in the buy. It's not after you buy it. So you have to do all your due diligence and research up front before you even attend any auction, because like we were discussing earlier,
Yeah.
you have a list of properties. When I was asking about your process, you have
Hmm.
a list of properties, and then you'll go to the property thinking there's a property there and now it's land. So I always tell people to do their due diligence, but I always thought that because if it was online, that gave more people the opportunity to
Nah,
invest, which actually increases the level of competition.
nah.
And
I found just for me, I found that, again, like I know, when you go to these auctions, it's not a lot of people that look like me and you. All right.
yeah,
and
absolutely.
and I'm gonna say it's probably a big age gap between. Um, a
Yes.
lot of those people are, people that have been doing this, probably their whole lives, going to the courthouses, going to ballrooms, and going to certain places where they have the auctions. A lot of people are not getting online because it's a whole different process.
Right,
You know,
right.
yeah,
This is so true. This is
yeah.
so true. So like what would you say are the pros and cons to online versus in person?
Um, I would say the con to in person, on you say in person, or like a live auction or online auction, which one?
Yeah, so like let's just talk about online first. Like what do you think the pros are for online?
The pros for online, again, a peace of mind. You don't hear all the rah rah. It's not such a big uh commodity. You're
Right.
literally at the comfort of your own home. You have your workout sheets, you have your rundowns on what your strategy is, and you literally can focus on what you're doing, and probably multiple properties at once.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say those are definitely the pros. And you have all your, let's say you're doing your title search and you have your report right there in front of you. You can look at it literally on your laptop and multiple screens at one time and see what's going on. opposed to being in a live auction. You're it's one shot. You know, you could turn your head and miss the bet. You know,
Right,
so
right,
yeah,
right. That is so true. I didn't even think about that because when I tell people too sometimes to um if you're like not a person and you don't like crowds, to
yeah.
go into a county that is online just so you could kind of get acclimated and it's not as intimidating when
I'm
you're
good with
doing it.
both though. I'm good
Yeah,
with
no,
both.
me too. Like
Yeah,
I've met so many friends and different people just attending the auction. So I actually, because I'm normally in the house online looking at all kind of properties everywhere. So it actually is a social um it's a
yeah,
social thing for me.
right.
The only thing I don't like you said, some people team up and then if you go to
Oh,
an
that's a big thing. That's a big thing.
yeah, if you go to an auction long enough, you know who the heavy hitters are there. And so that's the only thing like yeah, like the in person, but yeah, I agree. I so what would you say are the cons to online?
The cons are Uh, it's not many, to be honest with you. It's not many cons to being online. Everything is online now. I mean,
Yeah,
you literally go on Amazon and or you can go grocery shopping online. Like just
it's
pay
true.
attention to what the world is moving to. So
Yeah,
for me to say that there's a con online, I can't really say it. Everything it can only get better. You get
right,
where I'm coming from?
right,
Um, I mean, if you're just, I would say maybe if I just got to give you an answer, if you're a big people person and you want to be around a bunch of people, that may be your con. You're gonna be by yourself or
right, right,
whoever's in their house with you at the time. But
right.
um, okay. If you're a big networker, in which I am, and you are, you may want to be around other investors at the time and meet different people. Let's say you purchase a property and because I've had this happen many times. If you're in the game, anybody listening, you at some point you keep doing it long enough, you're gonna have this happen. You purchase a property, let's say somebody was interested in it or was bidding on it, maybe lost the deal or whatever. You have investors and buyers that'll come up to you immediately
Yeah.
and want to purchase it. That's not gonna happen online, you know.
Yes, that's true. That
Yeah.
actually happened to me. I did win a bid and it was those we buy ugly houses guys came up to me. It was like, "We heard
Okay.
you just won that property. We'll take it off your hands." I was like, "Well, how much you talking?"
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
I guess that would be the con with,
Yeah.
online is that you
Yeah.
don't, have that opportunity. I thought too like online because I noticed like a lot of Florida's auctions are online and I just felt like you have more competition when it's
You would
online
I
because
mean,
everybody has access to it. So that was my con for online.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
But you got to look at it. You got to look at it like this. It's competition in anything worth having. You know what I'm saying?
I like
So
that attitude. That is so true. That
yeah,
is so true. I
yeah.
definitely
If
agree.
it wasn't worth anything, it would be nobody on there. So
This is true.
yeah,
This is so so true. So what would you say the pros and cons about in person?
in person again, if you're someone that has anxiety or you don't like being around crowds, that could be a con for you. And just social. Um, let me see. Again, you have groups that will team up against investors. That could be a con. But again, you want to go in with a strong mindset, a direct mindset, and focused mindset. So don't even worry about those things. If it's for you, you're gonna get it anyway.
This is so
Um,
true.
uh, it's hard to say. I mean, I've done it so
I would have
long.
to agree. I know
Yeah,
you get used to it. I
yeah.
think the first time, like for me, the first time was like, well, it's crazy because I used to own a car lot. So,
Okay.
and I would go to auction. So I was used to the back and forth bidding.
Right, right, right.
But it's still
It
like,
gets loud. It gets loud. And if you're some person that don't like all that noise, uh,
yeah,
I mean, like you said, that back and forth, that could be a problem too.
yeah. And I would say a con too, because I got caught up in this. You guys don't be like me. Learn from my mistakes.
Bidding.
Yes, like I was like, I gotta get this. Like, and I
hmm
like, and before I knew it, I won, but I paid too much for
Too much
it.
for it. You overpay. Can I put a tip? Anybody listening right now, whenever you attend your first auction or you are vet at this, you would know, and probably you might want to comment at this. Write down your price when you go in, your
Yeah.
stopping price, and don't go over it. If you don't get it that time, cool. Maybe you might win another auction on the next one, but don't go over because that's a rookie mistake too. I've done
Yeah,
it myself. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But the pros we already kind of like talked about, like, because there
Mhm.
are other investors there, and you can
Mhm.
literally acquire a property and sell it in the same day. As soon as you
For
got the
sure.
deed, you could do a contract. So I think that
Or
is
build
what,
a list, or build an investor list, so
yeah, yeah. This is so true. This is very true. And it's a lot. I don't know about you where you invest, but I noticed in the different counties that I invest in Texas, there's a lot of looky loo. So, like, I get a lot of people inquiring or coming up to me asking me questions, which is also a good network, too,
yeah.
or what we talked about earlier about, helping people, acquire properties without having to do all the legwork.
Let me ask you this: how do you vet your people that come to do that want to do business with you?
As far as
I
the
mean,
student part, or as far as like in.
just anyone in general, because real estate is I like to say it's a hot commodity now.
Uh-huh.
It's being more popularized. We've been doing it forever, so it's always been a thing for us. But I see more people being interested, so you have an influx of interest. And
Mhm.
so, how do you deal with the influx of interest that are interested in, you might acquire a property or have something for sale or so on and so forth? How do you vet these people?
Well, it just, first of all, it depends on the property, number one. But I do two different things. I teach people how to invest in tax deeds and overages.
For
So
sure.
I do have a scheduling app where you have a series of questions that I ask. So when I'm talking to you, I know what kind of person I'm dealing with, whether you're new, intermediate. I kind of will know because I've been in real estate like half my life.
Right.
So I'm able to vet people in regards to their knowledge and their understanding, and then apply the conversation as such. But when it comes to like investors, I know right off the bat if you're new or if you're a veteran, right
So
off
what
the
would you
bat.
say? Go ahead and rate me. What would you say from what
So,
you?
like, I feel like veterans are not scared. They're like,
No.
when they
Yeah.
say they're gonna put a contract in, they put a contract in.
Hmm.
They put in the deposit, 1 or 2 days afterwards. Like, there's no hesitation. There's no hesitation whatsoever. But when I'm dealing, and I've dealt with a lot of new people. There was one lot I could not get rid of, and people were asking me all kind of crazy questions that was kind of irrelevant to the sale, which let me know that they were new.
Right.
Um, and then too, like, sometimes people are like, oh, I need to check with my partner, or I need to get back to you, but not asking. You kind of know because they're not asking the right questions that
Questions.
leads to a sale, pretty
Yeah.
much.
I'll tell you a rookie mistake I made,
Okay.
starting out very, very early. And for those listening again, it's not so much of a big deal now. I know how to deal with it. But when I first started, I got into a bidding war. Again, what I told you the guys to watch out for. And it was maybe 8 people in at one time, and then the rest dropped out. It was me and an older gentleman. And we were going, the bid was going up $4,000 or $5,000 at a time. And he just I had originally had did a title search on it, and just so happened I had my phone in my hand. I just happened to look down for a split second, and my attorney had texted me and said abort mission, and because there was an IRS lien on it. Now I know now in the in retrospect, uh, it's 20, hindsight is 2020, but it's okay. But at the time, the IRS lien was more than what the house was worth. And at the time I was gonna buy it just to sell it anyway. And I didn't know how to deal with that. And from his experience, I took his expertise and he told me to leave it alone. So I just, aborted mission, let the guy get it. And I asked him after the fact, did he know that it had an IRS lien? And he was baffled. He had no clue, so
Yeah, I tell people that all the time. Do your
yeah,
due diligence, and
yeah,
we teach you how to get. We're not, of course, Kenan and I are kind of veterans, so we know what to do when it comes
yeah,
to IRS liens. But that leaves it on the table for people like us that have the knowledge, right?
right, for sure.
So, yeah, I do teach that in my course on how to get rid of those type of liens.
And it's simple too. It's not even a difficult
It's
process.
really simple, but you don't
Yeah,
know what you don't know. That's,
right,
that
right.
knowledge is power, you
And
know?
my attorney was smart enough to know that I didn't know that, and so
Uh-huh.
he just told me to back out of it, and then I learned later on down the line.
Well, that's good.
Plus, I was trying to sell it too.
Oh, yeah, it takes a while to get that. Like,
Yeah,
you have to, yeah. Yeah, well, that's good. Now, is there
Hmm.
anything else you want to add on? I just wanted to kind of like give people on my platform. This is the first time I'm doing an interview with someone, and actually, we are like in the same business. And where are some of the maybe you could tell some of the people, because a lot of I really have specific places I invest. Maybe you could give some insight on some of the areas that you invest.
I mean, it's gonna come off as vague, but really, I invest in all tax deed states, and
Okay.
I don't personally invest in liens, tax liens. That's just not my thing.
Mhm.
Um, I know people that do, but literally every tax deed state I'm invested in. Honestly, I know it sounds vague, but it's true. Like I've been
I
doing it
got a
longer.
question for you though.
Go ahead, go ahead.
What's your cheapest property you purchased?
Mm, my cheapest property I purchased was $200.
Wow. What was it? Was it land or was it like
It was land.
okay.
Yeah, at one point, yeah, I bought some land for $200. But again, I ended up selling it for 10 grand though.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
I tell people that all the time. Like, I feel like this is like the best kept secret because,
yeah,
and I've known about tax deeds forever, but, and as you probably know too,
hmm,
like even when you were Googling me or looking me up, or your people were looking me up on Instagram, like there's not a lot of people in this space, not even on YouTube. There's a few people on YouTube that are doing it, but not a lot of people are in the tax deed state. There's a lot of
right,
tax liens, but not a lot of people
right,
do tax deeds or overages, which
right,
people are just baffled when I talk about overages, because basically with overages, you don't need any money to invest. You're pretty much when you go to the auction, whatever the minimum bid is and whatever it sells for, whatever's in between that goes to the owner, and people
right,
like us help them get that money. So a lot of people don't even know that that even exists. And
right,
I feel like it's a really good time to like start investing either in tax deeds or doing overages, because people are going to start losing their homes from taxes because they don't
for
have a job.
sure, for sure.
So
And I mean, I don't know how much I can disclaim, but like, um, that's a mean hustle too. I
it
know
is.
people. I know people that have had properties for a long time, and you know they they purposely let them go. You get them coming from? Like I know a lot of
Mhm.
investors too that have a lot of them that they just don't want to deal with anymore. And what
Mhm.
they'll do is they'll let them get delinquent. They'll let them go up in the sale, but they'll already have somebody there to document how much it went over, and then they'll make that money and they share it. You know,
Wow, now that's a hustle right there.
you, you know what I'm saying? I mean, hey, it's a lot of ways to skin a cat. No point intended.
Yes, yes. I love that about you. I mean, you've said so many different avenues that I didn't even think about. And I thought I was savvy when it came, but you actually kind of taught me a few things. So I appreciate that. You
That's what we
sharing your
do, man.
knowledge.
That's what hey, we all we got. Like you said, it's a small community of us, but if we got together more like what we're doing right now, I promise you, we'll take off.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree too.
I can
Is
make a
there
few. I can make I can make some people a millionaire in 6 months. I know that with a fact,
okay?
without a fact. Yeah, yeah, without a doubt.
Okay, yeah, because you do more like, and just for the audience that's listening,
Yeah,
Cannon, we have two different strategies. He
yeah,
likes to buy and hold and have a bigger portfolio, where I'm just wholesaling.
yeah.
So it's definitely possible that you could become a millionaire. Mine's is a little bit more. I'm more liquid,
Hmm.
and he's more asset based.
Yeah. I mean, and with that being said, and for those who don't know what buy and hold means, that just essentially means that I like to purchase, acquire, and take control of a property, uh, renovate it if needed, and hold on to it. And that makes me a landlord. The only time that I sell a house actually is just to free up cash so that I'm liquid and can invest it in other things, because I do invest in other things other than just real estate too.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to say to my audience?
I appreciate y'all for having me. And if y'all are still tuned in and listening to what I got to say at this point, hey, go and subscribe to My Black Neighbors podcast. I'm your host, Big Old Cannon. Boom! Hey, and y'all gonna love that.
Well, thank you, Cannon, for having me on. And if you like this video and you found it useful, please like and subscribe as well.
For
Thank you
sure.
so much.